So here's all of the income-driven plans that you are eligible or are in the system currently with studentaid.gov. So it's top one, Save, we talked about it. That's the one getting eliminated. That's been the one that's been the most favorable in terms of payment plans. We've got the Repayment Assistance Program. We talked about that having no payment cap, but having the interest subsidy, but the downside of that being the 30-year schedule. Everything below that, pay as you earn, IDR new, IDR old, and income contingent repayment, the ICR plan. Those are all ones that are currently in the system, something that you could apply for. Now, the biggest thing for pay as you earn, we talked about that. That is closing to new enrollment here shortly, and then it is going to be eliminated July 2028. And so as Mo said, that's going to be a short-term solution if we're looking at it. Now, next to all of them outside of the repayment assistance program and the income contingent repayment plan at the bottom have a deduction of the poverty line. So this poverty line is a number that's given out by the government every year. For a single filer, it's just over 16,000 right now. And so if you are on the pay as you earn, the income-based repayment, new or old, you get a slight deduction from AGI, which helps lower the payments a little bit more, which makes the pay as you earn, income-based repayment, new or old, a little more advantageous from a payment cost perspective. Now, the downside to pay as you earn, IBR new or IBR old, is if you're starting off and you don't have a lot of income and that 10% doesn't even cover the interest on your student loan, you will see that loan grow. It captures the unpaid interest every calendar year, whereas the repayment assistance program does not. And so things to look at, the biggest qualifier for a lot of these programs are when you took out your first loan. And it's first loan, doesn't matter if it's undergraduate, graduate, dental, medical, any student loan, that's the first calendar date of when you became a borrower. So the IVR new, that is if you have taken your first loan after July 1, 2014. If you were before July 1st, 2014, you're on the old income-based repayment plan if you're looking to be on the IVR plan. The ICR is able to be, you can jump on that at any point, no matter when you became a borrower, as long as you have direct loans, direct graduate, direct unsubsidized, direct loans, and it's 20% of AGI. And so it's the most costly monthly payment. And so it steers you towards looking towards the IBR plan or pay or even the RAP plan. So we're going to look at some case studies and what each plan means and pros and cons of all the formulas. It's a lot to digest right now, but we'll look into it a little bit further if you want to go to the next slide. All right, so with SAVE being eliminated, like we were discussing, actions that you'll need to do is you need to get onto a new income-driven plan if that is your desire. If you do not do that, you're going to be putting your loans either into the standard repayment plan or the standard tier plan, depending on your balance and depending on your servicer. You'll get a notice. July 1st, you'll start getting 90-day notices if you haven't already. When you get that, it's important to be looking at what income-based repayment plan is the best for you. It's a case-by-case situation. And third, and this kind of goes back to the question about married individuals filing jointly, we need to evaluate our filing status so that we can optimize our payment plans. Because if you have two high income earners and file jointly, household income of AGI is going to increase both individuals' loans if you both have it, or with one borrower. Everyone's payments are going to go up filing jointly if you both have joint income. So we'll move to the next slide and talk about some ways to get around that and some strategies and pros and cons. So some ideas on the payment cap advantage. If you are going to be a high income earner, you are going to see that if you're on the RAP plan, you're going to see your payments skyrocket. Whereas on the pay as you earn or the IBR plan, the most your payment can be is the standard repayment plan or 10% of your AGI with that deduction, whatever is lower. And so you'll never pay more than the standard 10-year repayment plan. Whereas the repayment assistance program, the new one, you can pay much higher payments. And so looking at your income trajectory, that's going to be helping you make decisions on what plan to hop on. Now, the other thing to take into consideration, and we touched on it quickly, is the repayment assistance program may be really great for you early on, not having your loan growing 0%, zero growth, 10% AGI, but The downside is if you want to switch from the RAP, the RAP plan, into the pay-as-you-earn or the IDR plan, unfortunately, time in the repayment assistance program does not credit you towards the pay-as-you-earn or any other income-driven plans. And so that's a con there. Whereas pay-as-you-earn going into repayment assistance program, there is credited years. And so there's an incentive to get on that plan. And that's what the federal government is trying to do.